welcome to Cousens Commentary. And I think you dug behind the scene. It really helps to have you there. So we're going to talk about what's on a lot of people's minds, which is kind of an awareness of a divide happening in America. Kind of get a perspective on it. First, we'll do a little dancing to get going. Warm up the heart and the mind. Okay. A welcome to all with love. It's a wild world out there. And what I really want to talk about is how people are getting carried away with division. Some people saying this is more as divided as when we had a civil war. That's a pretty big statement. But when I look around, not in my 83 years around the sun, have I seen the degree of division. And I kind of wonder what this is all about. I mean, I'm not being naive. People disagree all the time. I mean, what's new about that? Nothing. But the level of hostility in the division is what's kind of new. We really are attacking each other. I'm trying to keep it kind of not right or left. I'm looking at conflict and why is it happening? What is going on? It's at that level. It's like people on a variety of sides. There's more than one side here or two sides. There may be several sides. Have a tendency to really want to hurt each other. And setting it up to kind of create difficulties. It's like, wow. So I'm looking at that, trying to see what is going on at a moral, ethical, and spiritual level that is allowing people to play out these different levels of conflict. Families having conflict. I mean, people disagree, but, people in different families are kind of not wanting to speak to each other. It's like, The whole bonds of love are being affected by your political opinion. None of that ultimately is that important. It is important, in the moment, your political belief system in the moment, although in the moment, in the next moment it may change, but is it worth shutting down your heart to your family, to your friends? Is it worth attacking each other on the streets? These are kind of questions like, have we lost perspective as to what life is about and kind of degenerated? Now, I can talk about this politically. I mean, there's definitely coming out of Germany over 100 years ago, a plan to disrupt America, So it's not like it is, and this plan is progressing, and it could be that it may actually create the conflict that was the game plan, 100-year game plan. I think that is going on. I think there are people who really, really want to bring America down, on both sides of the story. Obviously, it's more active on the left. Those kind of things. Um, but just people's willingness to want to really hurt each other. And that's the thing. It's really more extraordinary. It's like people want to, honor their family connections. They don't want to honor their friendship connections. People are dividing out in different ways. And it's like, why are we allowing this fragmentation to happen? And that's the kind of the point I'm making. Again, we can say it's a part of a communist plan from the 1920s that came out of Germany, and it's proceeding. And I think that would be accurate, but see, why should it succeed? Why should in America, with the abundance and high quality of living compared to most every place, why should such a plan succeed? And that's the question we have to ask. It's what's going on in the, I would say, American mind, different than, say, European mind, because the European mind is really different at this point. What's going on? That this is happening. That people are divided. People are turning each other down cars, and people shooting each other. This is beyond the norm of what things had been in the U.S. And now we're hearing, maybe by the time you see this, there may be an insurrection, activation. We look at Minnesota, but it's not just Minnesota. We're looking at people demonstrating in different, California, New York. It's like, what's happening that people are so willing to be in head-on conflict with each other? That's really the question. What's going on in the mentality? And so I'm not asking it from a political point of right, wrong, everybody thinks they're right, the other people are wrong. I'm not asking it at that point. I'm talking about it from a more serious point of view. Is that people willing to hurt each other, to drive cars into each other. It's like, throw trash and, to do different things that are more than just a little bit of protesting. And so this is the question that I'm really raising. What's happening here? Where has respect for human decency? And does that all go out the window because you have political differences? Well, not necessarily. But it appears to be more and more of that happening where the political differences become more important than relationships, than in a peaceful society. I mean, you could have a peaceful society and still disagree. You could agree to disagree, but we're not having that. We're having that. Now, I understand that the vocal minority, kind of cultish leftist minority, is pushing it, but you still have people on the right who are also pushing it. And then you have people on both sides fighting each other. It's like, I'm not really want to mention names, but it's like, there are people on the right who are condemning each other. So there's a kind of a breakdown in civility. And that somehow people think it's okay to trash other people, even if you're basically even on the same side. And it's like, what is happening in our society that this kind of severity of judgment and of action that comes from it is being allowed to happen? Because if it goes too far, you're looking at really what Trump would call insurrection. And it's like, wow, we need to go that far. And so what's going on in people's minds? That's really the question I'm asking. That people really want to hurt each other because we don't agree. We have a democratic, we have a process of elections, choices. Why is that breaking down? And again, I will say that we know that there's a 100-year plan that was activated out of Germany, Munich, I think it was, where the plan was to have this happen. Maybe they're succeeding. Maybe people have kind of lost their balance about what is meaningful. Where does love fit into the situation? I don't want to talk about love your neighbor or yourself because I'm not talking at that level, but where does common human decency, how we treat each other around things we disagree about, how has that been thrown out? And why is that? What's happening in the consciousness? Now, the good news is that even though we have a kind of more extremes, we also have more people going back to religious churches and temples and mosques, where there's a return to God. People know that something is really, really wrong. And it's good to see that there's this other side where people say, well, this is out of control. we need to get back to basics. 10 speakings, 10 commandments, as I mentioned, treating each other with respect, with courtesy and love. You don't have to love people so much as disagree respectfully with each other. These are things that are a big concern in the whole picture. So may really everyone be blessed that we're able to remember who we are as human beings and go back to ways of interacting that elevate our role as conscious human beings, where we can truly choose to be at peace with each other and work things out. And even if we can't work things out, which is possible, that we respect that. We work out a way that we can live together. So I bless everyone that we can take this much more seriously. This division is divisions in the mind. And we don't need to divide our hearts. And that's where it starts. We need to come back to one heart. The minds can vary. One heart, one communion, one people. So may everyone be blessed with some of these thoughts and return to a one heart connection. We do things to add to that. One is that World Peace Meditation that we do 11:30 Eastern time U.S., 6:30 Israel time on Sundays, where we meditate together. World Peace Meditation, it does work. And next meditation is January 25th. So let's try to be peaceful. Try to create an opening of our hearts for the existence of other opinions and other people, and disagree with some kind of respect for each other. So with that, I say peace be with you. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Om and Kakyuasa.